Hey everyone, I'm the Canadian Land, and today I'm going to give you 18 new details that I found while watching Squid Game on Netflix. Now I'd like to apologize in advance because I'm going to butcher a lot of the character names, so if you're from South Korea or know the Korean language, please accept my apology. But before we get into that, I'd like to tell you about our awesome longtime sponsor, Cove. There's only one thing better than having one high-quality Bluetooth speaker, having one that turns into two Bluetooth speakers. It's a hidden feature you wouldn't expect, but also provides a fantastic stereo sound experience. They're perfect for listening to music or podcasts, or even editing videos when I want to take a break from my headphones. The Cove speaker is small enough to carry around easily, but the sound it delivers is high quality and loud enough to use with a group of friends or family. With 7 hours of playback on a single charge, you'll be able to watch Avengers Endgame twice and still have battery left over. And if you ever need to take calls, the Cove Commuter 2 comes with a built-in microphone, making it perfect for taking calls. Now with my code CL68, you can save 67% off or more on your very own Commuter 2 speaker, which would make it one of the most affordable unique speakers out there. So if you want your very own Commuter 2, click on my link in description to save some money on an awesome speaker. Number 1. At this point, you probably know that the frontman caught Detective Junho because he kept the phone receiver from left to right instead of right to left, because the frontman always keeps the receiver right to left, so he could immediately sense that someone moved it. Now what's interesting here is that the frontman is actually left-handed in the show, but keeps the receiver right to left, whereas his brother, the detective, aka Junho, is right-handed, but kept the phone left to right. This is probably just the director messing with the audience. Number 2. In episode 1, when we meet Sabyok for the first time, Gihan runs into her while trying to escape from some gangsters. Notice what Gihan does here. Even though he's in a hurry and trying to escape from the gangsters, he still picks up the coffee and gives it back to Sabyok. Now pay attention to Sabyok here. Her body is shaking. It's because the actor playing this role, aka Hoyeon, broke character over here, because Gihan was never supposed to pick up the coffee in the script. They were only supposed to run into each other and that's it. But because the actor playing Gihan, aka Lee Chung-jae, went out of his way to improvise this scene, so Sabyok started laughing. Even though it's an outtake, the director still decided to keep it as the scene looked really real. Number 3. In the final episode, when Gihan returns to his dead mother, he doesn't scream or shout or anything. He just simply lies beside the body of his mother, realizing she is no more. Now if you think about it, for someone who overreacts almost under any circumstances, why is he being so reserved in a situation like this? Well, it's probably because he has seen so many cruel deaths already that the death of his own mother doesn't surprise him anymore. In fact, this is the first natural death that he's seeing in a while. Number 4. Now you have probably seen this creepy-ass doll all over the internet, in memes, in thumbnails, and even in video games, but did you notice that the hair clip on this doll also includes the 3 symbols that make out the Squid Game? I mean, you may have noticed it, but I think the small detail makes this whole thing much scarier. Number 5. In the first episode, when the players get told how the game works, notice how Gihan was standing all the way back, and yet the focus goes straight towards him. It's because the director deliberately made everyone stand a bit far away from Gihan, so that the audience's focus remains on Gihan at all times. This could be a metaphor that he might be standing in the last row or have the last number, but the light will shine on him eventually. Number 6. Now, according to some fans, episode 2 was a bit slower, which is kinda true, but it was important in the sense that it foreshadowed how each main character will die in the show. For instance, Ali steals from his boss and is later betrayed by Sung-woo, who steals his marbles. Dak-soo jumps off a bridge to avoid being killed, and later he dies after falling off the glass bridge. Sabyok threatens to slice a man's throat, and is later killed by Sung-woo, who literally slices her neck. And last but not least, Sung-woo tries to take his own life in the bathtub, but later kills himself while it's raining, in order for Gihan to win the game and the money. Number 7. The red light green light game was the very first clue that Ilnam was actually playing on both sides. Notice when this big ass creepy doll was scanning all the players, the green hologram over Ilnam and the players around him was significantly less than the other players. It becomes even more clear when you compare the scanned players that are a bit far away from Ilnam. Their green hologram is substantially more significant than that of Ilnam. So this doll was programmed not to shoot or scan anyone within the vicinity of Ilnam, just to make sure he doesn't get in anybody's way and gets killed mistakenly. Number 8. When the detective opens the 2020 file in order to see if his brother is one of the players, notice the first page shows the details of player 02. Player 1's page is not included in the folder, because he was never an official player of the game. So in reality, the game only had 455 players, not 456. I'll be honest, I did catch this in my first viewing, and it really seemed odd that the first player begins with player 2 instead of 1. Number 9. There's an amazing Easter egg hidden behind Ilnam's name. The words Ilnam loosely translate to first man. Il can mean one, while Num means male or man, and Ilnam is player number 1, and he was also the original founder and creator of the game, so quite literally the first man to create the game. The fact that his real name
No.
on it, that's why he chose not to reveal it in front of everybody in episode 4.
And what is your name, sir, if you don't mind?
My name.
They call me. It's okay.
However, just before leaving the game, he does reveal his true identity.
I remember my name now. Irna.
But because Gihan was heartbroken at the fact that he just got Ilnam killed, he didn't pay much attention to the meaning behind his name. Number 10. In episode 1, the players start to wonder why they've all been kidnapped. Then they're shown a video of the players all playing Dogji with this sweet little salesman. Notice in the footage shown on screen, they all chose the blue tile at the start of the game. We don't see anyone choosing a red tile. Now, this is one of the biggest clues of what's to come in the show. If you're not Team Red, you are automatically in the game. Number 11. Starting with episode 4, if you look on the walls in the main room, you'll notice that the games are already announced on the walls. That too in order. And you only really get to see the walls once enough beds were removed. So if you think about it, if there was another killing spree, the players would have discovered it sooner. Number 12. While Gihan doesn't die in the show, but he falsely swears on his mother's life while telling Sabyok to trust him.
How can I trust you?
I swear on my own mother, okay? Get back here. My money, give it back. Give it back.
Now at the end, we know that it does catch up with him as he arrives home after winning the game, but finds his mother dead at home. Number 13. In Tug of War, each player had their hands locked to the rope so they couldn't escape from the game. It was the same for Ilnam as well. His hands were initially locked. Notice after they win, the locks are no longer there. Meaning, just in case they lost, Ilnam already had an escape plan. And had they lost with Ilnam surviving, they would have simply changed the rule of the game and say it doesn't matter if your team lost, if you manage to stand your ground by getting rid of the locks, you'll be safe. And you know what would have happened after. Instead of pulling the rope, everyone would have got busy trying to unlock themselves. Number 14. The gift box Gihan gave his daughter is wrapped in the same way as the game coffins. Now inside the box that Gihan wins is a gun, which is basically a lighter. Now this could be foreshadowing as players in the game are killed by a gun and then burned by fire. Number 15. We then find out that if you couldn't find a partner for the 5th game, aka the marble game, you don't get killed. If this is a long established rule of the competition, then Ilnam's decision to sit in the corner alone and avoiding pairing up with anyone could indicate that he was planning on using this rule as an exit strategy, as this would have allowed him to leave the competition without getting killed or raising any suspicions. But whether he played the game or not, it seems Ilnam was always going to exit the game either before or after the marble round, because he probably couldn't have survived the glass bridge game that came next, solely because he's too old for it. Number 16. I think it's very well known now, but I'm just going to include it anyway. In episode 1, Gihan bets on the horses and wins. He wins exactly 4,560,000 won, and at the end of the game, he won 45.6 billion won. And guess what his player number was? 456. So this recurring number was a reminder.
Hi, my name is Leanne, and boy, do I have an extraordinary story to share. But before I continue, please like and subscribe. I had a really happy childhood as the only daughter of 2 loving, wealthy parents. We lived in a beautiful mansion with huge gardens, a pool, and practically a zoo in the backyard. My parents would take me traveling with them around the world, and my favorite thing to do was taking pictures. Everywhere I went, the camera went with me. Life was great until one day. It took a